Good evening, everybody. It's Mario with Motorcycle Knuckle Busters. And coming at you this evening, we're going to bring a little bit different angle to you. It's Memorial Day weekend. And for some of us, that means a lot more than others. For other people, it means different things and whatnot. So we want to bring on a guest. Recently met this gentleman at Tennessee Motorcycle and Music Revival this past week. And was impressed by his story, some of the things I learned about him there, and I was just compelled and knew that we really need to bring him on as a guest to introduce him to the world that doesn't know him, and for those of you that do, that this guy's an absolute all-American, wonderful person. He has served his country in remarkable ways and continues to serve not just his country but people around the world. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce former Green Beret, Andy Lang.
How you doing?
I'm good, Andy. So see, you're sitting in your distillery and everything. So that's been going strong and everything else. And we're going to get to talking about all that kind of stuff, the distillery, some of the things that's going on with your life. But really like people to kind of get a background and learn a little bit more about you, the story of Andy. So kind of tell us, like where did you grow up and before you went into the service and stuff.
So I grew up right outside of Chicago in suburb LaGrange.
Yep.
After high school, I went to 2 years of college in Mobile, Alabama, and just decided it wasn't for me. I didn't want to be in college anymore, and I always kind of knew I was going to go towards the military. So I dropped out of college and went and enlisted. I enlisted for airborne infantry and went to basic training in 1993. And finished all my training, and my first duty station was in Italy.
Vicenza?
Yeah, Vicenza, Italy.
Okay.
Pretty cool first duty station. Of course, I got spoiled. And then after that, I came back to the States, and I actually decided to get out of the Army after four years. I was young and didn't know what I wanted to do. And about 6 months after being out of the Army, I was like, oh, man, I need to go back in the Army. Life is good in the Army.
Right.
So I went back in, and I came to Fort Campbell to the 101st Airborne Division, and I was in a long-range surveillance detachment. As a recon unit, I did that for about 5 years and then decided to go to Special Forces selection.
Okay.
And that was about 4 weeks. It's basically 4 weeks of hell. Just beat you up, and you walk a lot with carrying too much. And there's a whole bunch of different team week events and different ways that they assess if you're going to get selected. I got selected, and I went to the Q course, and I finished the qualification course for Special Forces. That took 2 years. That's the training to be a Green Beret. And I graduated all that, and with that SEER school and language school, which is another 6 months. So altogether it was about 2.5 years of training.
So did they, language school, did they make you do language school before you went to duty station? Because that didn't used to be the case.
Yeah, so that now your last 6 months after you get your Green Beret and you know what duty station you're going to, they put you in a language school for 6 months.
Okay. So now where were they? Language school, was that in San Francisco, or where did you end up doing that?
No, so they have a language lab at Fort Bragg. So it's all part of the Q qualification course.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so they changed some of those things up, so that's interesting. So now when you were in Italy, what unit was that? Was that the 325th?
Yeah, at the time it was the 3rd of 325.
Okay.
Which is technically part of the 82nd Airborne,
yes.
But they called it CTAF.
Yeah, that was CTAF headquarters there in Vicenza and stuff. So now, so what did you think of Vicenza? I mean, did you get to check out some of the sites there in Vicenza?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I got to see all of Europe. It was that unit it kind of became a I guess a relaxing location for all the Ranger battalions. So
Right.
after guys are in Ranger Battalion for 5-6 years, they go to Vicenza for a couple years, and every weekend's a 4-day weekend.
Oh, it's great. So for people that don't know, I mean, you're literally a half-hour train ride from Venice or Verona, and or you can jump in the car, and the next thing you know, you can be in Innsbruck in no time. And really, I had family when I was stationed there. I had family up in the Netherlands, and it didn't take me that long.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I drove a couple of times, and then it was like, just take the train and kick back. You grab that train out of Milan and shoot straight north and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a heck of a duty station.
Yeah.
So then you went, obviously, you finished Q's course, you got through language school, finished all of that up and everything. So what did your career look like after that?
So I got here to 5th Special Forces Group at Fort Campbell, 2001. And the towers got hit while I was in language school. So all the teams were already in Afghanistan when I got to group. And actually, right when I got there a couple months after, everybody started coming back and started preparing for the invasion of Iraq.
Right.
So I had about 6 months of team training to get, kind of involved with my team. And then we went straight to Kuwait. And then basically I was in Iraq for 9 months out of every year for about 8 years.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty busy.
Okay. And so now, some of the things, I noticed like, working with interpreters and stuff like that, one thing a lot of people don't realize in the real world is how intricately, Special Forces works with indigenous troops in those areas and training them. So, kind of tell people what that looks like and, how that is.
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't understand about Army Special Forces, what we do is we get embedded with a local village or some location where Americans haven't been for, either a long time or ever. And we do what we can to get basically become a part of that village and the people that live there. And become their security, one, and then two, also try to help. A lot of people don't understand Special Forces. Also, we build schools, we build aqueducts. We do water purification systems for villages, all kinds of stuff. And the only way we can do that really is with the use of indigenous interpreters.
Yes.
And for me, after Iraq kind of slowed down for 5th Group, we started going back into Afghanistan. In my first trip in Afghanistan, I met a guy named Masood and brought him into the team, and he pretty much became part of the team. And we would stay there, each team would stay there for about 7-8 months, and then another team would rotate in.
Yeah.
And Masood stayed with about 7 different teams. And then in 2011, I ended up coming back to the same camp and linking back up with Masood. And we ended up getting him all his paperwork together to get him out of Afghanistan and back here to the States. And to tie it all together, he got back here to Nashville about 3 months before our team returned back here. And at the time, I was getting ready to retire and open up the distillery. So I hired Masood. He helped me do all the build out, the electrical work, everything, and then helped me run the distillery for about a year.
Okay. That's awesome. So now where's he at now?
He's here in Nashville still. Crazy life for him. When the fall of Afghanistan happened and the debacle that that ensued. Masood and I worked through a lot of our counterparts to get his family out. So his mom, dad, and 2 brothers are now here in Nashville also.
That's great.
And we did it by just contacting, a bunch of either retired special forces guys or guys that are still on active duty that were there to go get them and get them on a plane and bring them back.
Right.
So then now Masood's he's got his own contracted business in Nashville. He's flipping houses and he's just doing really awesome. And he's married, just got married this year, and he's going to have a baby this year. So he's doing awesome. In fact, this is him right behind me here.
All right. Well, and that, and that's incredible because, that's the American dream, and you and the fellows you serve with, on those teams, they help facilitate that.
Yeah.
So, I hear a little, in your voice, you talk about the debacle of Afghanistan. I know plenty of people that were over there, and I know guys that, that were lost over there. And for me, that, I know how it was for me. I can imagine, how that was for you. So, what was your reaction to what happened?
Yeah, it was pretty sad. We put so much energy and blood into building Afghanistan up to what it was, and it was getting pretty good, really good. And then just basically like the United States does so many times in the past, we just turn our backs and say, yeah, sorry, we're out. And the way it happened was, excuse me, but it's bullshit. There's 100 different ways we could have done that. And, our leadership chose the worst one possible.
Well, we've seen it happen time and time again. You refer to that. I know, like with Honduras, El Salvador, there was, when we pulled out and we said we were no longer going to support those people there. We had trained large contingencies of troops there that we were then paying for. And then when we decided, administration changed, said we're pulling out, there was no jobs for them guys. Who else did they go work for? The drug cartel.
Yeah.
So yeah, history repeats itself, unfortunately. And it seems to be this inability for administrations to transfer good foreign policy that's working and maintain it. They want to abolish everything from the previous administrations, and it just hurts the people on the ground.
Yeah. There's just no forethought into any of this. It seems like every time there's an administration change, it doesn't make any sense. It makes us look bad as Americans. We do this every time. Did in Vietnam, Iraq, now Afghanistan. Who's going to trust us for the next one? Nobody.
Yeah, right. And you can't blame them.
No,
exactly.
I wouldn't.
So we got a couple pictures. I want to throw a couple of those up just to go through. So, so going through, you've been doing a lot of contributing on CNN and stuff lately, haven't you? Or Fox, I should say.
Yeah, Fox. Yeah, so about, a few months ago, one of my buddies, Scott Brown, he's part of the War Hippies and the Scooter Brown band. He called me and was like, "Hey, I'm going to Ukraine. I've been trying to adopt this kid for a year now, and everything's falling apart, and I can't just let it go." And I was like, "All right, well, do you know anyone over there?" He's like, "Nope, that's why you're coming with me." I was like, "Okay, let's go." Of course, I had to pass by Mama at home, and she knows who I am and what I've done my whole life, and so I went over there with Scott, and we went over there to get 6 kids that were already in the process of adoption out. Ended up with 54 kids coming out into Poland. So after that trip, Scott and I got on Fox News, and we kind of told the story. And really, getting on Fox News for us was more to shine light on what's happening with all the orphans over there, with the human trafficking and the problems that they're having to get, people to start supporting that.
Right.
And then, you know, I just make connections with some of the Fox News people, and Brian Kilmeade had me on a bunch of times to talk about different special forces aspects of what's going on in the Ukraine and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, you know, it's just amazing to me that, you know, guys like yourself, you know, they never stop serving. They just find a new way, a capacity and way to serve. You know,
Yeah.
now you're serving, you know, once again on an international stage. So 54 kids. Any plans going back? Any other things you guys are, you know, hoping to do?
Yeah. So, and then about a week or two after that, I went back a second time. There's a team, it's called Aerial Recovery Group. In fact, if anyone wants to help, they can get on aerial recovery group.com and they can donate. And it's a great cause. There's about 15 people, a lot of them special ops guys, some of them intel guys, and they're working directly with the Ministry of Child Services in Ukraine.
Okay.
And they're going out to some of these bad areas with buses and picking up kids out of orphanages and bringing them back to Lviv. And they're doing it every day. Every night they're doing missions, going out and bringing kids. And the adoptions have kind of halted for a while because the Ukraine wants to get the Ukrainian, you know, government wants to get a handle on where all the kids are and get accountability, which is a good thing. And then, you know, with with Aerial Recovery Group, they'll have at some point be able to put out to people how they can help adopt kids, donate money for the orphanages, stuff like that.
So you were you mentioned child trafficking. You know, there's been a lot of news or talk and everything about, you know, Ukraine being sort of a hub where that's occurring. So can you shed any light on that for folks so they understand why, you know, it's so vital what you're doing and this organization's doing?
Yeah, even before Russia invaded, Ukraine has been just a location, like you said, a hub of child trafficking. And it's because they have so many orphans that are in, you know, what we would call state care. And once they turn 18, they just get put out on the street. You know, and there's always a thug standing outside the orphanage in a nice car and some money, and it's like, hey, what are you gonna do the rest of your life?
Right.
You know, and they just snatch them up, and then that kid, you know, is 18 now, but will never be seen again, and just end up all over the world. It's pretty sad.
Okay. So and if you would again, you know, mention the organization and how people can donate.
Yeah, if you go to it, so Aerial Recovery Group, if you just Google that, it'll bring up their website, and just going on there, you can donate. And they've got safe houses set up all over the place. They've got, you know, they need money for security. They're setting up orphanages. It's still inside Ukraine in safe areas, you know, to house the kids until, you know, we get this accountability going.
And I think we should mention too is, you know, you guys like yourself, there's other people on this mission. Guys aren't making money doing this. They're volunteering their time. Okay, they're dedicating themselves. You're putting yourselves in harm's way. You know, there's a lot of people who don't want you guys here, obviously, because you're a threat to what they want to accomplish. You know, and I think people need to understand that you and everybody else do this purely voluntarily. And so, you know, if they donate to the organization, that money is being utilized not to line somebody's pockets, but to actually take action and do the things it was intended for. So I think it's really important people know that.
Yeah. And, you know, and depending upon who's watching this, it doesn't even have to be a money donation. You know, if there's other ways you can contact that group, and vehicles, you know, like it's just gas there. You know, if you're in that area in Poland, whatever, you can get a hold of these people and help them with food, toys, clothes, blankets, you know.
Absolutely. So that's, you know, that's great. And I think people, you know, to be aware, you know, any little bit, any incremental amount, you know, it can make a difference, make a huge difference because it's being utilized in the right hands.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's pop up another picture here real quick. So we want to start talking about, what you're doing these days as well. So you've got a nice little distillery going there, and you got a nice little lineup of handcrafted spirits. So why don't you tell people about that?
Yeah, so right about a year before I was retiring, a couple buddies of mine who had been drinking what I've been making for 20 years in my garage, they were like, "Man, we need to do this. So you can make good stuff, and I think we could do it." And I was like, I don't think you can just get a distillery license. Well, evidently anyone can because they gave me one. But yeah, so we make, our pride and joy is our bourbon. We call it Snake Eater bourbon. Obviously, Snake Eater is a nickname given to Green Berets. We also make a rye whiskey. Rye whiskeys, it's kind of up and coming. It's just getting ready to start, getting real popular. And then we also make a rum. So all of our moonshines, our flavored moonshines, are rum based. So,
Okay.
in the moonshine world, it'd be considered sugar shine. And we've got elderberry, a peach, apple pie. We've got a gawa. Gawa is coffee in Arabic.
Okay.
And it's coffee cream moonshine. It's really good.
Interesting.
And then, like that picture you showed up there, that was so I partnered up with Daryl Worley, and we did a series of labels. Basically, we took 5 of my products and relabeled them as a 9/11 tribute. And you can buy those online still. And each bottle, it's almost, when you buy a bottle online, almost $10 goes back to one of the 3 organizations that we support, which is Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, the Special Operators Transition Foundation, and the Special Forces Association, Chapter 38.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's awesome.
And that was the first time I got on Fox, actually, was with Daryl on Veterans Day last year. And that was pretty cool. Pretty cool event.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. So I swung by your place today. You guys don't open till 3:00. Right. But I didn't know that. But I did pick up a bottle of Snake Eater.
Nice.
So your guy was there, and I bought a hat, and I bought some Snake Eater. So
that's too funny. He told me earlier. He's like, "Yeah, somebody came by, so I just went ahead and sold it." I was like, "All right, they're cool."
Yeah, he's very accommodating. I said, "Oh, you guys are closed." He goes, "Yeah, what do you want?" I mean, and not challenging. He's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Well, I wanted to get a bottle and I wanted to get a hat." So he says, "Well,
that's my distiller, Brian. He's pretty awesome. He's also more 20 years plus infantry."
Okay.
So, he's retired too.
Yeah, he said he was prior service as well. So so we talked for a bit. I had to get down the road so I could make it back here to Waverly and everything as well. So
nice.
But yeah, it's a super nice guy. So I'm looking forward to trying that. Now, how would you recommend drinking that? So for people who don't know how to drink bourbon, I do, but maybe tell people how they should drink it.
To me, there's only 2 ways: put it on rocks, drink it, or make an old fashioned out of it. Old fashioned is just some simple syrup, bourbon, a little shake of bitters, and a twist of orange peel. That's it. Yep. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I live up in Wisconsin, and that's the state drink in Wisconsin, and you probably know that from being suburbs of Chicago, because it's pretty popular there as well.
And in Wisconsin, they like brandy old fashions.
They do, but I see more and more now of whiskey old fashions.
Okay, awesome.
Not bourbon old fashions. So I see that. But at the supper clubs, they definitely they like to do it with the bourbon. I mean, with the brandy way.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's grab another picture here real quick. So tell everybody about this, because this has actually got a great story behind it, and I think they kind of need to know.
Yeah. So that's our original still. We've got it here displayed in the distillery. That's just a beer keg with a copper column and a small condenser and a thermometer. And that was my Special Forces team water purification device.
Okay.
We used to take it on deployments and stick it on the pallet, and anytime customs asked, we just let them know that we were distilling water, which technically we were. So it's not a lot.
No, it's not. It's
just
not.
had more stuff in it.
So how much do you think you've managed to distill out of that all those years?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know. I mean, a lot.
Now, I think the thing to do with that is it would be fun one day. It's when people come by that actually experience some of what you distilled out of that, have them start signing that, as of all the guys that were a part of that, and everything. So, it's funny how those things go. So when you guys were making your stuff, I know word got around. So any interesting guests show up to try a taste outside of the team?
Oh, every sergeant major in the country came by to look at our camp and make sure it was secure.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I love how that works.
Yeah, and I knew exactly what they were there for.
Well, that's to go back, the ingenuity, the industry of what you see with SF guys, what they managed to pull together and pull off, is pretty remarkable. You kind of talked about that in Q, going through Q school, some of the team drills, they're really to show, how good of problem solvers are you? Can you pull together as a collective and make something happen? Because those skills, obviously, you're having to replicate those skills down the line as you're embedding with indigenous troops and training them.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's see what else Cody's got for us here. So I want to talk about this because that touched my heart. So first of all, I'd like you to explain to everybody that doesn't know. Explain to them the table there.
All right, so the table is the I forget the official name they call it, but it's basically a memorial table. It's for the soldier who's not there. It's a single white plate, a single fork, single knife, single rose, a little thing of salt, and a small tray with a piece of lemon on it. And each one of those stands for kind of a remembrance of, whoever that person is that's not there with you. Right. Usually those are placed out for a dining in or a big military event.
Yes.
We have it there underneath that flag, and all those small pictures are the picture. So each one's a picture of a 5th Special Forces Group guy that died from all the way back from Vietnam all the way through the current time right now.
Right.
And those photos, you can take them off the wall, put them on the table with you, sit there, have a drink with your bud. And last year we did a Memorial Day event. We put all the pictures on the tables, and then people came in, and we kind of filed by everybody, put the pictures back up, and then we did a toast, and with a shot glass that was on the table there. So it was a pretty cool event.
Andy, that's just absolute class. I mean, absolute class that you've done that and that remembrance and stuff. And I wanted to bring that picture up because this is a weekend to remember those guys. What they did, and not just them. Any soldier that had didn't get to come back from a conflict.
Yeah.
So were you any of those guys on the wall at any point in time? Did you deploy with them or familiar with any of them?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
A special forces group's a really tight knit group, and yes. If anyone's lost within the group, everybody knows them. Everybody's been on a jump with them, out on a range with them, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty special about what you set up there. Let's show people a little bit more about stuff. So this is the wall behind you.
Yeah.
Okay. So describe to people, obviously, we know we've got your interpreter there, but kind of tell people about some, the significance of some of the other pictures there.
So that flag on top, actually, my interpreter, who's in that picture there, his brother is now in the United States Army. Actually, it was the honor grad in Ranger School. But he, when he was in Afghanistan, he went back to Afghanistan as a U.S. soldier on a deployment. And he had that flag made for me. And the top half is obviously the American flag, and the bottom half is the Afghanistan flag. And then he put the Special Forces crest and our logo on it for me.
That's really special.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Then the other pictures, some pictures of me in Afghanistan. That middle picture on the bottom is actually Private Lang when I was in Italy. So if you come in, you can see what I look like as a young 21-year-old.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's roll into some other pictures, just kind of showing the place. So tell folks about this.
So that's my body armor and helmet that I wore Afghanistan and Iraq, multiple trips. When I retired, I basically told them I lost it and paid for it because I wasn't giving it back, which a lot of guys do.
I was going to say a lot of guys end up doing that. So
yeah,
as you say, they lost. They're like, okay, yeah, sure you
did. Here's the bill.
Right, exactly. So yeah, so that's rated as you're entering your place there. So so people come out to check it out. They'll see it sitting there. Let's pop up a couple more pictures. So I got to see some of the kegs out back.
Yep, that's right here in the back in Pleasant View. We got about 52 barrels aging right now. Everything from 1 day old, we just put in today, to about 2 years old.
Okay. So how many, obviously you're not a Jim Beam or something like that, making, huge quantities, Jack Daniels, stuff like that. But how much do you make a year of, say, Snake Eater?
Well, right now we can make we can fill about a 53-gallon barrel a week, maybe 2 weeks. This new place in Clarksville is going to have right now we have 175-gallon still. We're going to a 450-gallon still.
Okay.
So we'll be able to put a barrel a day away up there.
So so if somebody wants to come to your facility there, how do they find you?
We're off of exit 24 on Highway 24. We're smack dab in between Clarksville and Nashville.
Okay. So that's pretty easy. Exit 24 on 24. So north out of Nashville, kind of northwest out of Nashville, and then otherwise heading southeast out of Clarksville, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And now you've got the second facility that you're working on. When are you hoping to open that facility up?
We're hoping to open in about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. And so now you've got the bigger still there. Is it going to be a bigger area?
Oh yeah, the whole building's about twice as big.
Okay. Very nice. And then do you guys host, like if somebody wants to bring out a group of, say, riders out and everything, can they make any sort of pre-arrangements?
Yep. Yeah, you can call us. You can send us if you get online on our website, there's a contact page. You can send us a message and tell us what you want to do. We can schedule it for you.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, and I would recommend, so the place that you have there is really cool. I'm looking forward, maybe on the next trip down south, I'll get to come by that and check it out. We'll share some pictures and stuff with folks as well. So let's see what else we got, because I took a couple more pictures around the place. So you got this nice little area outside, for people to hang out. I noticed that. And so, if you're going to ride out, it's a nice summer day, whatever you want to hang out with the buddies outside or inside, there's plenty of space. Let's pop something else up. And so, just want to show a picture of the building so people know what, when they go in, because it is a little bit, there's a number of buildings there, but you sit down at the end of that one building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So anyhow,
And you
How
know
do
what?
people-
I was gonna say we got plenty of room, and we'll probably start our bike night Wednesdays. It'll be Wednesday evenings, probably in about 2 weeks. We're just kind of waiting for this finicky weather to, give up.
Okay.
We'll have live music, and people can't ride their bike home. We got plenty of room in the back.
All right.
Almost always have about 5 bikes parked in here on Thursday.
And we'll make sure we get some links shared on all that for you to get that out to folks so they know where to find you and everything else. And then we were talking earlier. We were talking about the fact that you've rode for years and years and years, and I want people to hear this because it kind of to explain the sacrifice you made. All right, you sold your bike so that you could get this up and going, right?
Yeah. I sold all my toys, and I tell people I traded in some chrome for some copper.
Okay.
It's still shiny, but you can't ride it. It's a little hot.
Exactly. So but I think listen. If you're watching this show, you ride, you're in the area, go support Andy, support everything he does, and maybe if we can keep that copper busy enough, you can go buy some chrome again, right?
There you go.
So that's what we need to do is get you back on a bike, so that you can you're part of the community. Always be a part of the community, motorcycle community. I know that you were supporting War Hippies out there at Tennessee Music and Motorcycle Revival. They had stuff going on there. Recognizing everything you did. And the fact that you're supporting that community, and I want to tell you, I really appreciate that because it's partners like you and people like that, that make this community so intricate and connected. And it's just it's just like group guys or any SF, that there's that common bond, there's that link, that exists between you. So, and that definitely exists in the motorcycle world. We like to, each interview, we like to kind of we like to hit people with 3 questions. All right. And so we're gonna throw 3 questions at you. There's no bad answers, no wrong answers, and stuff like that. But first question is, if you could go ride with anybody, jump on a bike and go ride with anybody, who would you like to go ride with?
Kid Rock.
That's cool. Very cool. That's a good one, and I like that one.
Yeah.
All right. And you know what? A lot of times people say they hesitate, they think about it, they're not sure, what that response should be. And well, you popped that right out there. That came right off the tip of your tongue, no doubt. So if you could if you could own any bike, anything, don't care what year, model or anything else, what would you like to have?
Oh, I'd definitely go back to my last bike, which was it was a night train. It was a little tricked out with some apes, some nice saddlebags on the back. It's pretty cool, real comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. That works. And then now somebody like you that's been around the world and seen a lot of different things. Their question is, if you could go ride anywhere in the world, anywhere, where would you like to go ride?
If it was possible, Iraq.
Okay.
There's some really amazing places if they could get their shit straight.
Right.
That would just be really cool to go ride a motorcycle down the Nile River. There's some cool spots. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, did you ever get a chance to ride in Italy?
I did, actually. That's where I got when I was in the Army there. I had a 883 Sportster I got through the military sales. That's how I got around everywhere.
Italy was a lot of fun to ride around. And,
it was cool.
For people that haven't had a chance. And the thing is, now, when I would show up, and you'd show up on a Harley, you go to little places, there would be a couple of bikes, might be a Moto Guzzi or something like that there. And you would show up on a Harley, you were an instant hero.
Oh yeah. People are like, whoa, where'd you get that?
Exactly. Now, did you where the Carbonary had their little coffee house there right by CTAP headquarters?
Yeah.
Did you ever see what the motor cops used to do? motor
No.
cart that they used to do? They
I
used
tried
to
to stay away from there as much as I could.
God. Well, they would do these little espresso correcto things, they called it. So it was a shot of espresso and a shot of grappa, and they knock that thing down. They go over, they jump on the bike and take off, and that's how they would start their day. So that I was like, wow, and you know what grappa was like for, especially a lot of the young soldiers would go get, tangle up with some grappa. The results usually weren't very good.
No, it's great moonshine, basically.
Yeah, basically. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So I want to close this out with really, it's Memorial Day weekend. Is there any people that, you'd like to, acknowledge and names that you would like to, tell folks about in remembrance?
Yeah, definitely. There's two. And I got a tattoo with their names on it. Mike Stack, he was my sergeant major in Iraq 04, died on Easter Sunday. Amazing person. Just we got into some things we couldn't handle. And then another buddy, Jeff Kettle. He's been my best friend since we were privates in Italy, went to selection and Q course together. And he ended up in third group and got killed in Afghanistan. Those will be the two. Those are the two number one guys that I always think about. Right.
And now, where were they from? Stateside.
So Jeff was from Alabama, and I'm not sure where Mike was from.
Okay. So I just want to acknowledge them with their sacrifice, and I want to acknowledge you and the sacrifice you made, because people don't understand how many times you probably had your heart ripped out, because every time something happens to one of your teammates, that's your family.
Yeah, definitely.
That's deep and that's hard. So I really appreciate you coming on with us. I think this was a great opportunity. I really hope people will take the opportunity to go out to Leatherwood Distilleries, check you out. Just let's run down. Let's tell people what the hours are like there, so they know when you're open.
Yeah, so Wednesday through Friday, we're open 3 till 11 at night. Thursday, we do karaoke. Friday and Saturdays, live music. And then Sunday, we're open noon till about 6.
Okay.
And we'll stay open later if people are here. So.
And then once again, if they want to order, mail order, they can go to leatherwooddistillery.com and place orders there. And then once again, let's remind people what you do with about $10 of each order.
Yeah, so we support Charlie Daniels' Journey Home Project, the Special Forces Association, and the Special Operators Transition Foundation. Okay, so all good things, playing it forward, so I just want everybody that watches this episode, get behind Andy, everything he's doing. And back to, I want to remind people, I know it's the third time, the organization over helping with the orphans. Once again, Aerial Recovery Group.
All right, the Aerial Recovery Group. So folks, there's call to action. I hope every one of you will step up and help either Andy's business out or help these organizations out. Sir, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I think this was a great interview.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
All right, take care. Good night.